Hey, this is Brian, and welcome to the Bearded Cigar Review.
I'm Alex. I'm with Corona Cigar Company, formerly Bearded.
Formerly Bearded, I like that. Today, I have given up on bourbon. Really, I've given up on my bourbon search. So, for the last few years, for the last probably 5 to 6 years, I have been trying to get into bourbon. I like a couple. I like Gentleman Jack. I like Woodford. I've tried Basil Hayden, I've tried a few. It's hard for me to remember because I haven't liked a lot of the bourbons, and I really only remember the drinks that I really like. The only kind of bourbons I end up liking aren't even bourbons. They're ryes, or they're super dry, or they remind me of Scotch. So now, finally 30, decided, I know what I like. I know I like Scotch. I know I like rum. Now, Alex here has worked, you said you worked at ABC and you worked at Total Wines, right? So where I dive deep into cigars, I get really into cigars, he is the spirits, beer, especially beer, but spirits kind of guru for me. He has a way more depth in knowledge. Tell him a little bit, where your education, where you came from, or about yourself a little bit.
I came into the liquor industry with no experience, and I was lucky enough to work with people who taught me everything from the ground up, and they taught me the right way, not the wrong way. So today I brought some bourbons in that should be readily available and reasonably affordable for most people. And I'm going to brown paper bag them and see what Brian thinks. I think these would be two brands that he would enjoy, but not necessarily I would. Not necessarily everyone.
So basically the idea is he's trying to convince me that I can still like bourbon. So we'll see if there's a bourbon that I truly like outside of Woodford and what's the other one? Gentleman Jack. Now, just in case, we've got 3 snifters here. Called snifters, right?
Yes.
We've got 3 snifters here, and one will contain the Scotch that I got for my birthday, actually. Glengarry, aged 12 years. It's a Highland single malt Scotch whiskey. It's made in Loch Lomond Distillery. The other 2 glasses are for whatever the heck happens to be in those 2 paper bags. Now, obviously this is a cigar review, so the cigar that we're going to be reviewing today is the Joya de Nicaragua Cuatro Cinco, the TAA version of it. Now, you looked up the wrapper, filler, binder. What was it?
Nicaraguan wrapper, Dominican binder, Nicaraguan filler, small production, limited to 500 boxes.
Now, we picked this cigar because neither of us have had it, right? You haven't had it, and I haven't had this one. I've had Joya de Nicaragua before, the Uno, so let's go ahead and get into it.
But you have to unwrap or unseal it on camera, so that's on camera that it's a sealed product, not a refill.
Oh, okay. All right.
The joke is, I said, reasonably affordable. It's not reasonably affordable.
It's not really.
And it's not readily available.
Why not?
But it's something you like. It's got sweet baking spice notes that I think are reminiscent of rum.
Okay. Reminiscent of rum. That's why you got it for me. That's funny. Smell wrapper. Smell the foot. Oh, that's very, very sweet raisin.
Graham cracker?
Yeah.
Or like the sweet chewing tobacco, red man.
Okay. Now here's another reason why I wanted to do a review with Alex. Basically, I just go off if I don't have great notes, like tasting notes to get from, so I just base it on sweet, spicy or peppery, sour, bitter, umami. Alex is very good at pinpointing exactly what things taste like.
It's coming from the beer and wine world. We have flavor palettes, big flavor wheels, and they're much more descriptive. It's not, it's salty, it's sweet, it's much more specific. It's barnyard funk, horse blanket, moldy hay, which are in the same spectrum but completely different flavors.
So it'd be really interesting for me to how I explain it and see what actual notes you get from it and where you come from with it. You get anything from the cold draw? I'm still getting that graham crackery raisin, which I always get with Nicaraguan cigars, to be fair.
Yeah, raisin's all I get.
Just go crack that baby up.
There's usually a pull tab.
Huh?
There's usually a pull tab.
There it is. It's just hard for me to get because I don't have nails.
You have big manly fingers.
I have big manly fingers with no nails. I filed them down too.
Take my strong hand.
My strong hand. I've only seen that movie in like clips. I've never seen it all the way through. I'm making this worse somehow. This was supposed to be easy. Love that sound.
Yes, it's a magical sound. It's like freedom.
Like freedom. Just launch it.
Prost. Wait, is Prost Russian?
Prost is German.
Okay, good. Because you can't say Russian. Cheers.
A lot of pepper on it.
Pepper. I get salinity and the classic shortbread cookie.
Okay, shortbread cookie on there. What the heck is salinity?
Salty, briny.
Okay.
It's typical for the Speyside region. It says Highland,
I'm not quite that educated. Yeah, it is Highland.
but Speyside is a sub-region of Highland. It's the northern coast, and because you get the coastal area, you get flavors of the ocean, the brine. Not always, not necessarily, but it's more common in the Speyside region. You also get salty brine from the islands, but since they use peat to stop the germination of the barley malts, you get smoky flavors.
I like it. I enjoy it. Like I said, it's hard for me to find a scotch that I don't enjoy. Let's go ahead, light up the cigar. Careful with it. Do not burn my eyes off or anything else.
Oh yeah, you're gonna like this.
Liking it already a little bit. So we both work here at Corona Cigar Company in Tampa. Fun fact, we don't allow customers to use these because they are quote unquote a fire hazard. Now, no one's ever had the balls to bring this in, but I'm pretty sure this is also a fire hazard.
Most definitely a fire hazard.
That's why I keep it away from the table. It does not have a very sharp beginning like a lot of cigars do.
No, I'm trying to figure it out. It's some wood species that's not like normal oak. I'll get to it.
So, while this is smoking, waiting to get into the first inch, go ahead and open up your first bourbon.
So I'm picking these two bourbons for you because
Should I look away?
no, it's fine. Most scotches in the single malt category are bottled at 43 to 46%. I think that's your sweet spot because you've said that a lot of bourbons are astringent. Right now in the bourbon market, everyone's doing barrel strength, full proof, straight from the barrel, higher ABVs over 100, which I think is one of the reasons you're turning away from bourbon. For you, sir? A little darker.
Yeah, I was about to say a little darker, obviously. I still like it. It's a pretty color. That's all I'm looking at, by the way. When I do this, I feel like other people might think, like, oh man, he really knows what he's looking at. Nope, I just think it's a pretty color.
No.
That's all I think.
What can you tell from the color? You can assume it's been in a barrel longer, but you can char barrels at different char levels. You could char something at a 1 char and age it for 20 years and it might look the color of this scotch. Put it in a 5 alligator char, you could probably get this color in 6 months.
Those are terms beyond my own knowledge, to be fair. Now, this smells like nail polish to me. But it's not as hard to nose, to be fair. I feel like it's harder to nose the scotch than it is to nose this.
I think there's more going on in the nose on this. You got cherry, vanilla, corn sweetness.
You know what, now that I've gone back to this, after nosing that, I haven't tasted it yet. Going back to the scotch and nosing it. What did you say, the shortbread?
Shortbread.
Yeah,
Shortbread
definitely
cookie.
smelled that. All right, let's try this. Nail polish. Smoke was the first thing that hit me. Calmed down, became sweet, woody and sweet.
But a different kind of sweetness.
Definitely.
Shortbread
different
cookie.
No. Absolutely fair. Very
candy
different.
corn.
Almost a darker sweetness, if you will. I don't know if that makes sense. Darker. Do you find it blending with the cigar?
I think I'm mixing up the flavors between the cigar and the bourbon.
Yeah, because now, to me, this just tastes like burnt leaves right now. That sweetness went away on me.
And this was sweeter in
Absolutely.
the cigar.
Yeah.
So you lost the sweetness that was in the cigar.
Now to go back to the scotch. This is a lot more woody, if you would, to me.
Okay.
A little drier in flavor, but I still like it more.
That is
It's not bad. This is not a bad bourbon. It's not a bad bourbon.
one for the bourbon team.
I still prefer the scotch. I still prefer the scotch.
I got one more bullet in the chamber.
All right.
My second bourbon is also 12 years aged, near the same ABV.
I'm coming up just about my first inch. I'm gonna go ahead and retrohale it and see what I get.
More power to you, brother.
You know what I just got?
Syphilis.
Funny. Nice. No. It's gonna be weird, but it reminded me of a balloon. Like when you're blowing up a balloon.
Powdered rubber?
Yeah, I guess so.
Wild. I like it.
Yeah, it's not enjoyable. It's not enjoyable. I kind of like it. That was the first thing it reminded me of. That's weird. You already asked yours?
Yeah. I know. I'm a heathen. What do you want from me? Pour me a beer.
How could you? I don't mind that bourbon. If you pour me that bourbon, I will drink it. But if you pour me the two, I'm going for the scotch still.
That's all right.
On to your next one. What's your next round in the chamber here?
This one I'm going to make you open.
Since I had so much luck with the scotch bottle,
It's got the same pull tab.
I messed it up so easily. You're going to allow me to do this one. See, that's how smooth it was supposed to happen with the scotch bottle. It just didn't happen.
Well, this is higher quality. It's bourbon.
Shut your mouth. Oh, that smells super sweet.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow. Trying.
So I picked this because you enjoy rum so much.
I do. I really do enjoy rum. I'm going to have you pour it. It's yours.
I get a lot of baking spices off of this. This is a wheated bourbon. So it's going to have corn and wheat sweetness.
Oh my gosh, so sweet. Already the end of an apple. When I've gotten to the core of an apple, and it's the last bit of the core before I throw it away because the rest of it is unedible. Very sweet.
Very sweet, very smooth.
Yeah, pretty damn smooth.
But it's not a one-note sweetness. It's
No.
complex sweet.
I've got a finish, if you will, of almost like licorice on the back of my throat. Almost.
Okay.
I thought perhaps just because I smelled apple, I thought maybe candied apple. I will drink this bourbon again, whatever it is. I will drink that one again. I'll enjoy it again.
That's unfortunate.
That's unfortunate?
Yep.
Why do you say that? Oh my God.
When we get to the reveal.
When we get to the reveal, I guess that's unfortunate. And I will say I'm still getting more from the cigar with that on my palate than I did with the first bourbon.
Okay.
Now, to be fair, we're past the first inch. So the oils have heated up, the cigar's developed a little bit more. You're gonna get more out of the cigar after the first inch anyways. So let's go back to the bourbon that you gave me before.
I'd actually go to the Scotch.
It smells a lot sweeter.
And put the
Yeah?
two 12 years
Okay.
side by side.
I'll go to the Scotch. Use the cigar as a palate cleanser. Oh, it smells so much cleaner, and I'm getting so much more of that red out of the Scotch. Really, you're making me like the Scotch more. By making me drink these bourbons and going back to this, like, oh, it smells like home. This is tasting less and less sweet to me, and I'm assuming it's because these are getting more and more sweet.
Oh yeah.
No, you're good, bud. You're good.
So Brian would rather drink his 12-year Scotch
Still,
over
100%.
my 12-year bourbon that I bought.
Absolutely. Do you prefer Scotch or bourbon if you had to choose one or the other?
You're a Scotch guy.
I prefer bourbon, sir.
You prefer bourbon, really?
Bourbon, yes. Eagle Rare 10, all the way.
All right, well, we have to reveal it. Hold on, we have to do the reveal. I can't see. I don't like that he shook his head. I really don't like that he shook his head. The cigar has remained smooth. If anything, every time I go back to the cigar, I feel like it cools me down. It cools my palate down a little bit, settles everything. Do you get any flavor notes specifically? I know you're like the master of flavor notes, I'll tell you that.
I'm not tasting a whole lot besides the whiskeys.
Gary 12 here. Really? Do you just not like Scotch, or?
That's why the ending is gonna be great.
I'm upset already. All right, what do you think of the strength so far on the cigar?
Way too light for me.
So, all right, here's another thing about this monster over here. He will, what is it? A horseshoe. For you that don't know, you know those little, what are they called?
I don't think we should talk about my chewing tobacco.
We're talking about this. This is not like just tobacco like a lot of people do when they do the dip. This is little packets, right?
Yes.
He'll do a horseshoe. For those of you that don't know what a horseshoe is, it's 5 packets all around the bottom. Excuse me, 6 packets all on the bottom. That's a lot of nicotine already. On top of that, you'll have a black coffee. And on top of that, he'll have a Tabernacle. Tabernacle is a cigar by Foundation. That is, if you want a headache immediately, if you have no tolerance for nicotine and you want to throw up in a couple of puffs, you smoke a Tabernacle. They're very strong. Now, they're granted extremely delicious, but you got to have a little bit of a tolerance before you get to Tabernacles. He smoked, how many of the double Corona, which is bigger than this cigar, okay, maybe not so much engaged, but longer than this cigar, how many of those do you think you smoke in a day?
On a slow day, I could probably do 4 or 5.
I can do 1, and it'll be the last cigar I have of the day. And when you go back to the Scotch, what are you getting after drinking the bourbon?
The ocean brininess. I don't know exactly where this is from. It says it's Highland and Loch Lomond, which
Is that how you're supposed to say it?
Loch Lomond? Loch Lomond? I don't know.
I'm trying to make it sound fancy by saying Loch Lomond.
But I believe it's northern area of Scotland where they're closer to the ocean. I'm sure I'll get ripped in the comments for saying that.
No one comments on these videos. You'll be fine.
Well, I hope this one gets some comments.
I hope so too. In fact, if you have had this Scotch,
Drip to the eye.
ha! God, that's funny. The AC works in here, and sometimes it creates condensation.
It's been dripping on my head, and I was trying to ignore it for the video,
I'm so sorry.
but it's gotten right in the eye.
You're gonna have to muscle through it. I'm not moving the table again.
That's fine.
I'm sorry. I would like to know if anybody has had the Glengarry 12 year, what you got from it. If you've also had the Cuatro Cinco or the Nicaragua TAA, what you thought of it, and what you think about what I'm saying, Scotch versus bourbon. It's harder for me to find a bourbon I like. It's easier for me to find a Scotch I like, or a rum especially.
Well, let's talk value. What price points would you put these 3 products at?
I can't say how price value, okay? Between the two bourbons, I definitely think that the second bourbon was more expensive than the first bourbon. The Scotch, I would say, I don't know price wise. I would pay more, but I'm going to be completely biased. I would pay more for the Scotch than the bourbon, but I feel like the bourbon's higher priced than that one. I don't know why. I can't explain why.
I'll tell you the price points on the two bourbons. The first bourbon was $20.
Really?
The second bourbon was $80.
Really? I wonder how much this is. This can't be $80.
No, I think it's 40 to 45.
All right, so let's go ahead and do the reveal. Which is which?
Okay.
So, what was the first bourbon that we tried?
First bourbon, standard Old Forester, 6 proof.
Okay.
One of my favorites, go-tos, outstanding product.
Old Forester bourbon. I heard a lot about Old Forester.
At the $20 price point, it's hard to beat.
All right, and what was the second one?
Second one,
The sweet one. The one that I did like of the two bourbons. I like both, to be fair, but I definitely prefer the second one.
the sweet 12-year was Old Rip, Lot B, 12-year wheated bourbon. Retail price, $80.
Van Winkle. Is this a derivative of Pappy? I know nothing about bourbon, so you're gonna have to help me out. What does this mean?
That is the Old Rip Van Winkle distiller. Happy birthday.
This was an $80 bottle, huh?
Yeah.
It looks like a wine bottle.
It's a very generic label.
Yeah. I kind of like that though, to be fair.
The juice is great.
The juice? Well, I'm kind of glad I like the better bourbon, I guess, the higher price bourbon, right? Now, are you upset that I still prefer the Scotch? No?
To
Okay.
each their own. I just try to find you two bourbons that, for your palate, you'd enjoy.
No, I
Did you
did.
at least enjoy them?
No, 100% I enjoyed them. I did actually enjoy them. I won't be upset if you pour me a bottle, a glass of the Old Forester. I would thoroughly enjoy and actually probably ask for the Van Winkle here if I was in the mood for bourbon for some reason. If I was in the mood for something sweeter, that isn't wrong, which I don't know if I'm ever in that mood, but I still really like the Scotch. So maybe I haven't given up completely on bourbon, but I'm definitely holding true to my Scotch and rum. And with that, I just ashed my first ash. Let's see if I can pick up the ash. Oh my gosh, I can. That is holding together beautifully. It's barely crumbling in my hand. Wow. That was a very decent ash. That brings us to halfway of the cigar, actually. So let's go ahead and retrohale halfway of the cigar. What?
Peanut? Peanut husk.
Oh, okay.
Like if you burnt a peanut husk?
I was gonna say bitter, maybe leather-ish, but a peanut husk. I like that because I can definitely visualize that. Okay, so you didn't get this. Unfortunately, I stopped the video, but we Googled. So he was trying to explain to me what this is a little bit more in depth. He bought it for $80. Yeah, retail price $80. Show me your phone again. So he Googled it, right? He said Google it. Well, my phone's obviously doing the video. So he Googled it for me, and the resale value, this is the resale value,
Secondary market is what we call it.
is over $1,300 for this guy. Is this mine?
No. The pour was yours.
Wow. Is this your personal, or did you just buy it?
That's from my personal collection.
Oh
And you
my
opened it here on
I
camera.
feel so bad. Not really, but I still feel bad. You could have resold this. It's worth 80 now.
Bourbon's not for
Oh my
reselling.
God.
Bourbon is for drinking and sharing with friends.
There it is. Aww. You can also resell it for over $1,300. Wow. And this was $40.
Yeah.
and the scotch was $40. I feel better now, if anything. Wow. Something else that I didn't know, he's just taught me. So Lot B is what this is called. So it's from the Pappy Van Winkle distillery, right?
Old Rip Van Winkle.
Excuse me, Old Rip Van Winkle distillery.
Pappy refers to the 15, 20, and 23 year.
Okay.
This is the 12 year.
Okay. Lot B is when it's not Pappy.
It's from the same distillery, it's just 3 years younger.
It's just 3 years younger. That's all that means. Okay. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. That's why Frost, the other manager here, that's why he was laughing at me when you showed him. I didn't see it, but he showed him the bottle. So, down to the last third of the cigar. I like it quite a bit. He is hard to please when it comes to cigars.
Not a cigar guy.
He's not a cigar guy. He is very hard to please. But you said yourself you would enjoy this, right?
Yeah.
And what did you say? You wouldn't throw it in the ashtray, right?
Definitely would not throw this in the ashtray.
This, I was able to sit down with you, enjoy some great bourbon, some really good scotch,
Better scotch?
and big surprise on this one. I really do thank you for that, because I've never tried. I don't think I've ever tried this high quality of scotch, or excuse me, of bourbon before. I guess if I'm gonna try bourbon, it has to be really good bourbon. We're here in the last third of the cigar. I like it a lot. I think strength-wise, stayed at a medium for me. For me, it's a 6 to 7. It's not. I'm gonna stay at a 6. It's just at that point of medium for me. What about you, strength? 1 to 10.
Last third, it usually ramps up, and it's consistent the whole way through. Good job.
Overall, I'm gonna give it probably an 8 out of 10. The only reason I wouldn't rate it higher is because the flavor was consistent. If it changed a little bit and became more complex, I would rate it higher. It didn't take me on a journey, if you will. And honestly, it allowed me to focus on enjoying these guys a little bit more. Come back to something consistent, come back to something that'll remind me of what I was smoking, cleanse my palate, if you will. Comment below what you think about what I said before I knew what this was, and your battle, if you've gone through it between scotch and bourbon, or scotch and rum, or any other spirits out there. Let me know what your journey has been and how your palate's kind of evolved over time, what you like. Thank you, Alex, very much. Appreciate you on this. Looking forward to next time. Thank you, guys. Hope to see you again.